What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Wealth Hacker Labs. I'm your gracious host, Jeff Rose. I know it's been a minute. I've not done an economic stimulus check update in several weeks. And maybe you've been wondering, maybe you haven't been. Either way, just want to let you know, man, like I just been dealing with some personal family issues. Had a very close family member get diagnosed with a terminal disease. It has just been gut wrenching, but through this whole experience, there's been sadness, but there's also been a lot of joy and a lot of gratitude. And I could do a whole video on everything that we've experienced. And let me just say that the Rose family, it's been emotional, but we are in good spirits. All right. Anyway, enough about what's going on. I want to give you an update because there's been a lot going on with the second stimulus act. We've heard about the HEROES Act. Now we have this new act called the HEALS Act. This was introduced by the Republican Party. And one of the main things that they were trying to address, like, yes, we've been talking about another one-time stimulus check, similar to that $1,200 check that we received, seems like ages ago, at least for many. Some feels like you just got it last week or a couple of weeks ago. But with one of the biggest concerns that a lot of people have, in addition to the $1,200 one-time check, is what is going on with the unemployment benefits. People were getting the $600 a week, $2,400 a month, and that was set to expire at the end of July. Well, many as you know, like it's already been released. Like there's already been a lot of videos done on this. I'm sure you've heard the news that President Trump signed an executive order. And while this executive order didn't answer everyone's prayers, it did address some concerns. So let's go ahead and head on over to the computer so we can see exactly what this executive order had to say. So here is what we've got. All right, so President Trump signed this executive order. This was just a few days ago. And instead of getting the $600 per week, what Trump put in place was a $400 unemployment boost, which on average, when you factor in total state and federal benefits, you're looking at around $708 a week on average. Now, there are some that may get less just based off of how much they were getting with all the other benefits they were getting. But it also depends on what income bracket that you're in and if there's any other benefits that you are receiving. But for the most part, I mean, if you were on the short end of the spectrum here, and you're going to get nothing, you were banking on getting $600 a week, and all of a sudden now you're getting nothing. I mean, getting a $400 unemployment boost, I mean, that is at least something that you could be grateful for. In addition to these unemployment benefits, and once again, I'll always include links to any of these articles in the description, in the show notes, just so that you can read this on your own. But right now we've got 30 million Americans, 30 million Americans that are currently collecting unemployment benefits. 30 million, like just sink your teeth in that for a minute. So that's like how many people are still collecting unemployment. I mentioned there was a few that may receive less, benefits under this new proposal. And if you look at this tweet by Eliza Forsyth, she's a economics professor at the University of Illinois in Urbana, U of I. And she tweets out here some quick stats about who's earning under $100 per week in unemployment benefits, starting UI eligibility, using actual pandemic job losers in the CPS. I estimate about 6% of all regular UI recipients receive less than $100 per week in state benefits. And that basically goes on to say that, in other words, here's the summary of what that tweet says: about 950,000 people wouldn't get additional federal jobless aid, according to the analysis by the most recent Labor Department data. So, it wasn't just the unemployment benefits that people were getting. There was other additional aid that people were qualifying for, whether it be on the federal side, also on the state side. I mean, some states, depending on where you lived, they were providing some very substantial benefits, for those that were collecting unemployment. So as you can see here, it gives it some examples. They range from a low of $5 per week there in Hawaii, and then we've got $1,200 a week there in Massachusetts. So I mean, I guess if you're living on an island, enjoying a paradise, I guess you could be okay only getting $5 a week. Living in the Massachusetts area is going to give you $1,200 per week. So what else did Trump's executive order, what else did that include? Were there some other nice benefits as well? So if we go over to this Forbes article, we can see we talked about the federal unemployment benefit. This expired on July 31st, which I've already said, reducing it to $400 a week, down from $600. Also, we talked about we haven't talked about it yet, but they've been talking about it a lot, is this payroll tax. Basically, they are pausing any payroll taxes that are being deducted until the end of the year. This benefit would only apply to those making less than roughly $100,000 per year. They also would suspend any interest on federal student loans. To me, like, this is an okay benefit. I would rather say, I'd rather see like you don't have to make any payments for a certain period of time, without collecting interest. Either way, you're suspending interest. I guess I need to double check, make sure. I'm assuming you still have to make the payment, but nonetheless, I mean, it's something. I can't complain. I want to be grateful for everything that they are trying to do for everybody. And there's also a call for an extension to the current eviction ban. So basically, if you are potentially being evicted from your townhouse, your apartment, your home, if you're renting, they're trying to run an extension for those to be evicted. I know, like, this was a big concern for many. Like, people are just doing their best, trying to pay the bills, trying to make ends meet. And I just was talking to my wife just yesterday, as a matter of fact, and this is not a direct acquaintance of ours, but it was just kind of a friend of a friend. But just hearing her situation, she has to go to work. She's a nurse. She's a single mom trying to make ends meet. She's got two children. I think one's in the 5th or 6th grade. The other one's in kindergarten. And she has nobody to watch her kids as they are starting online school. So she's having to go to nurse to help others that are sick, that are in need. And her young children have to stay at home trying to do school on their own. Like, I think it was a 6th grader and a kindergartner. And I know, like, that is just one small instance that is just, I'm sure, across this country of people that are doing everything they can, trying to make ends meet. And I mean, just imagine the judgment and that this mom would probably get. People knew who she was, knew her story, but then also, just think about the guilt that she has of having to leave her kids at home and having to go to work. But also, she got to do that because she doesn't want to be evicted. She wants to lose their house. She has to, feed her kids. I mean, she's got to provide. Just, oh my gosh, like, there's just so much going on right now. So that's the latest updates with the unemployment benefits, this executive order that President Trump signed into action. But still, many are wondering, is there going to be a second economic stimulus check? Well, they still haven't said. I mean, there's been talk of it. I mean, there was a video I did, seems like forever ago, where Trump said that it would be very generous. And whether he did say that would be a stimulus check. It wasn't just a stimulus bill. Right now, right now, I think it's Steve Mnuchin they met. He had a comment on Monday saying that they're going to begin discussions on Friday. So let's just say, realistically, if they were to put this thing into play, this is an article I published on Forbes yesterday. Just realistically, when would a second economic stimulus check hit your checking account if you got direct deposit on file? If you don't, obviously, I'm sure you from personal experience, it's going to take a little bit longer to get your check or your debit card, however they decide they want to do it the second go around, if they do it at all, even though they said that they were going to do it. But in this article, I just looking at, how long would it take realistically to get a check in your hands? And the only thing that we have to rely on is data, past experience. And we looked at the HEROES Act, trying to scroll down here. So right now, like, we're at a standstill. It's Monday, August the 10th. They're talking about beginning, I guess not beginning negotiations, but just rekindling discussions on this stimulus check. And if we looked at when the CARES Act was passed, that was passed back on March 27th. I'm going to highlight that there. By the time that the first checks were issued, we were looking at April the 13th. So if you looked at any calendar right now, it is Tuesday, August 11th. We're looking on Friday that they are going to begin negotiations on this Heroes Act, Heals Act, whichever one that they're going to end up pushing through. And I mean, we're still looking at potentially late August, maybe late September. I'm sorry, early September that we could see that second stimulus check. I mean, this is all pure speculation because we don't know. And I don't want to say all this to get your hopes up and waiting on this. Right now, like I don't think this is a reactive stance. We're not just waiting for the government to send us a check. We need to be proactive and trying to figure out what are other ways that we can create our own stimulus, that we're not dependent on the government. But either way, just looking at how long it took for the CARES Act, that stimulus check to get into your hands, we're looking at that was about 15, 16 days. Now, with the systems I have set up, and being the fact they've already done this once, and they had to go through all this process of just training IRS employees. They had to bring on some temporary employees just to help out. They had to process all these tax returns to get checks out. So most of that's already been done. So it potentially could be quicker, but this is all provided that they actually pass a bill, that they actually pass the Heroes Act, the Heals Act. Maybe they come out with some other combination of all these different acronyms. Either way, this is what we know now. Still have some more negotiations to go, and I am back now. I'll be able to do some more updates on this. Hope you've checked out the channel. I had some other videos go up that were non-stimulus related. It was fun to actually release some content that was more true to what the Wealth Hacker brand and mission is all about. So be sure to subscribe to the channel because I got more videos like this and others showing you how to invest, build your wealth, start an online business, chase entrepreneurship, financial independence, and just learn how to live life on your terms. All right, y'all, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.